Hey guys. As you can see, I had a lot to talk about in this video, so I decided to separate all the sections into chapters. If you're interested in a particular subject, then just hop on over to that one. Or if you want to stick around and watch the whole thing, I'd greatly appreciate it since I worked very hard on this video. I'm not used to making content as long as this, but if you like it, please make sure to let me know. Anyways, let's get started. Bye! Have you ever had a joke so crazy that it just kept going and ended up ballooning into something so convoluted and insane to the point that the original joke was basically lost at this rate? Survival, the Peppa Pig, the killer. Alright, picture this. It's 2020, and for some strange reason I can't quite put my finger on, everyone simultaneously decided to stay in their homes. And, well, as a little bored kid, I obviously had to find ways to entertain myself. And a certain game caught my eye.
Roblox is literally inside.
You see, my lifeblood during quarantine was Roblox. I did all their events, I fell down a couple of rabbit holes, I tried making some god-awful games, I probably opened a portal to hell, and I made a lot of friends, which I still actually have some to this day. Though, every time I would look at the games tab to look for more games to play, I would always see one game, always there, always getting more and more popular. That game, obviously being adopted. Piggy for me back then was the scariest shit ever. Look, as a kid, you could do some SpongeBob shit and wiggle around the ghost on a string and I'd still be terrified. For the longest time, I hesitated to play it because, I don't know, I'd get a heart attack or something because of how scary it was. But then after finally mustering up the courage and going in reality, I started liking the game and started to understand why it got popular. And even luckier for me, I started playing at the very end of book 1. So there was like an actual cohesive and comprehensive story. I started falling in love with the character designs, the secrets, puzzles. It was literally like the best thing ever for me at the time. When I heard they were making a book 2, hell yeah, mama needs some more slop! Piggy was low-key one of the most incredible things I've seen on the internet. And after being a devoted fan since 2020, I'm here to make a little, retrospective thing, and even include some things I vividly remember from this era. Anyways, who remembers book 0? A bit of a brief history lesson. This is Minitoon. Now, Minitoon is an up-and-coming developer ever since he joined Roblox in 2011. He's been working on his things, working on other projects, and he's developed a bunch of games, including Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese, a couple of SCP games, and Potato Game, what the fuck? You can tell, Minitoon had a pretty big passion for horror games, whether they were good or unforgivable, and enjoyed making a lot of them. That's why one fateful day, after playing a very shitty Peppa Pig horror game with his friends on Roblox, he thought, you know what? I could do better than this.
And I'm like, okay, I could probably make a better one. I don't like comparing myself, but I wanted to make one that actually had some effort put into it.
And to the praise of everyone, Piggy was born. And then I bought a Badgie toy at my local Walmart. The system is ruined. Actually though, I think it's pretty cool how Piggy was born out of a complete joke and a game intended just for a man and his friends. It's insane to see how far it has come since its origins as just a joke, but I'm getting ahead of myself. With that out of the way, let's talk about the actual game now, starting with book January 2020. Book 1 was officially made. The only chapter back then was the iconic house, but eventually, every 2 weeks, Minitoon would come out with a brand new chapter for the fanbase to completely tear to shreds. There were a total of 13 chapters for book 1, so let's get into them. First off, you play as a police officer searching for a missing George Piggy. Meet today's protagonist, Officer Nova. Chapter 1 starts off with Officer Nova getting out of their car, ready to enter the Pig family's house, until whack! Something hits them from behind. They wake up inside the house and find out that they were locked in. Now, get ready for what is 90% of book 1 gameplay. Find the keys, and get out a blank space before the evil monster gets you. For each chapter, I'll mention a unique gimmick and its unique killers, as well as any notable aspects I could also mention. The house is by far the simplest chapter. Its only unique gimmick is a long vent underneath the house, which a lot of players used to hide from the Piggy. These type of people who would stay in the vents so the Piggy wouldn't get them were absolutely notorious in the fandom, but I won't delve into that right now. The chapter ends with us traumatized after being hunted down, wondering what that thing even was. where we leave to go to Chapter 2, the station, for some support. Chapter 2 begins with the speaker informing us of more monsters attacking the station and no sign of life anywhere. We have to find a way to open the garage and escape. Why can't we go out the way we entered, you ask? Oh, I'm sorry, Albert Einstein. Want a Jolly Rancher for that answer? The station's bot is Mother Pig, which makes no sense, especially considering almost every other bot skin is in theme with the chapter itself. But the game gave some in-universe explanation about her looking for George there or something. Anyway, we continue unlocking all the doors, you know the drill, and finally open the garage, only to see Doggy, the only person we see alive who has not tried to kill us. Good thing we went through the garage, I guess. Well, I guess you get that Jolly Rancher then. We then continue with this chapter's gimmick, the battery box and the gas can. Insert 2 batteries, grab the gas, and boom, you're out of the station. You and Doggy talk about how fortunate each other was to have been there and helped the other escape. Touché. Or should I say, touche. The moment gets interrupted though because, to the disappointment of everybody, that can of gas had jack shit, and now the car is left completely stranded at the gallery, which is actually Chapter 3. Chapter 3 puts us in front of the gallery, surrounded by more of the monsters that have been chasing us throughout the game. You and Doggy make a rush for it and lock yourselves inside. We're all safe, and the gallery has plenty of food and water, survivors to come and rescue everyone. But well, it would if that wasn't a fucking lie and you were stuck in there with another monster. This time it's Father Pig, okay. These spots aren't creative at all. I swear to God, if the next spot is like Susie Sheep or some shit, I'm gonna lose it. Well, now it's up to us to escape from the gallery we sealed ourselves in. You know the drill. Keys, boards, and, well, this chapter's gimmick, dueling crusted eggs, because of course we have to. After successfully escaping, you and Doggy begin to talk about the monsters all over the city. What's been going on? Nobody knows, but Doggy assures you that you two will get to the bottom of this. Doggy suggests we leave, find someplace safe, and lead on to the next chapter. 4 weeks have passed, and you start noticing a pattern. These monsters rampant all over look like your friends, people you used to know. Doggy starts to call them infected, as in sort of zombified versions of the townspeople of Lucella, aka setting of Book 1. You two head to bed and are later awoken by bark glass shattering. That's strange. You wake up to see Doggy missing and approaching by the bench where he was sleeping. What's up with... Doggy's fucking dead. That's right. This chapter unique gimmick is no other than our dear friend Doggy, who serves as a second NPC that alerts the Piggy and tries to kill us. Although, if Doggy's the second killer and he's the gimmick, then who the hell is the bot skin? I swear to God, if the next bot is like Susie Sheep or some shit, I'm gonna lose it. Maybe this video was a mistake. Although perilous, you managed to escape the forest you and Doggy had kept sealed for so long. On your way out, though, you find a walkie-talkie. Could this be another survivor nearby? You pick it up and listen for any signs of life, and lo and behold, there's someone on the line. They tell you to head to the school, and in an attempt to distract yourself from the terrible loss of your friend, you head on over to the school. In Chapter 5, you walk inside the school like the walkie-talkie instructed you to, and you are then instructed to find someone trapped in there and take them to the sewer where the boys would meet up with you and their friend. Once inside, you're greeted with this chapter's special gimmick, a book. This book opens up a bookcase which reveals a secret surveillance room hiding the boys' friend. That's when the player meets Bunny. Bunny is very kind and thankful of the player, which only helps you be stronger and push forward after Doggy's loss. The bot skin this time is actually a very fitting one, and it's no other than the teacher of the school. You and Bunny finally make your way over to the sewers, and you meet the voice from the radio, who turns out to be a very famous and rich celebrity in Lucella, known as the one, the only, Mr. P. Mr. P is glad to see that the two of you made it out unscathed, or at least he would be if you didn't suddenly faint out of nowhere. You start seeing everything blurry and witness hallucinations, including one of Doggy, as you're dragged to the hospital, which is Chapter 6. This chapter begins with you waking up from whatever the hell just happened, and Bunny right next to you, overjoyed that you were alive. Apparently you showed signs of infection, and they were planning on leaving you behind with another doctor who got infected, aka Barry, who is actually the boss for this chapter. Which is kind of strange if you think about it. Signs of infection? I guess you could have been infected when you were assaulted at the start of Chapter 1. I guess if you hit someone while infected, they also turn infected too. That explains why it's so widespread now. Regardless, Bunny maintained hope that you were going to make it, that you weren't going to be infected and you were going to be alive. And well, luckily, that seemed to be the case. You woke up just in time too, as right now everybody was evacuating through a helicopter at the rooftop. You and Bunny rush to the rooftop, using this chapter's gimmick, 2 colored potions that you fill up to open safes. And then you use keys and boards and hammers and wrenches and key cards and... Okay, these descriptions are getting boring. You know what? Let's spice these up a bit from now on. Green key.
Check.
Blank.
Check.
Orange key card.
Also check.
Come on, baby. You can still escape this map. Pass me that hammer.
We lost the hammer.
You what? Quick, find it. Time is running out and the patient is about to lose the match.
It's not anywhere.
Hurry up. Aha. Great work. Now go and woo. Operation successful. Wait, those bastards left us behind. So as you can see, Mr. P got a little bit desperate and left all of you behind, leaving a note behind saying it was the best for all of us. Regardless, you two still have to escape the hospital, so you guys try and leave through the metro. Or should I say, Chapter 7. Chapter 7 begins with us entering the metro. Bunny, weak as ever, she lies on the floor, hopeless as the metro trams aren't even working. You go ahead and attempt to fix them, avoiding the grasp. Zombie? Okay, is it bad? I kind of fuck with. This chapter's gimmick is just Bunny's crossbow. It's very fun to use. Unfortunately though, as you finish up repairing the tram, Bunny tells you the truth. Mr. P had been testing cures for her disease and had given her a faulty version of the cure, which resulted in her infection. She tried all she could to contain it, but eventually failed, and urged us to go without her so we wouldn't be in danger. All we could do is stand and watch on a moving tram as Bunny used her last dying breath to keep the infected busy.
Another dear friend lost.
And after one of my absolute favorite chapters, we arrive at the next one. Now, if you play Piggy at all, you must be very familiar with this map. It's so piss easy that I'm not even going to talk about the gameplay. Look at this highlight reel as I mentioned the bot skin, which is Clowny, who's cool I guess, and the gimmicks, which are the carnival games, and the strange fox in the cage. Wonder what that's about. Oh look, I already said everything. Anyways, the chapter ends with us meeting two survivors after failing to find Mr. P. We meet Pony, a clumsy yet kind of charismatic character, and his friend, Zizzy, who's a skillful fencer. They then offer to take you to their safe place, and you, with little choices left, agree. Before we move on, I just need to talk about this for a second. This chapter marks the start of these notes left behind by an anonymous entity known as the TSP. If you didn't know, most of Piggy lore is set through random-ass notes scattered about. And I kid you not, the entire collective community back then thought this meant the super potato. Let that sink in for a moment. Is that not tragic?
For the people that don't know, there's actually a character in Peppa Pig called the Super Potato, TSP. That's the initials of it, and a lot of people figure that that's what it is in Piggy 2.
Chapter 9, The City. I genuinely don't want to talk about this chapter. It's so boring. Nothing even happens. It's literally just a walk to the safe place. The gimmick is a second bot, which is just Granny from Big Game Granny, and Elephant Ellie, the bot skin, and then like you talk with Pony and Zizzy about like what you want to be when the fiction is over, and then someone's like spying on you, so you go check it out, and Zizzy goes with you, and Pony stays behind because he's a pussy. You know what? Let's move on to the next chapter.
Chapter 10. In this chapter, we stand outside the mall, ready to confront whatever was watching us from the inside. This chapter's special gimmick involved another long bench, but this one is different from the one in the house. You see, this time, there's somebody in there. For some context, in Peppa Pig, Mousy is disabled and can't really use her legs. She was originally going to be the bot skin for this chapter. So what does Minnie Toon do to make her a piggy? Minnie Toon gave her a wheelchair and some crutches. Never mind, he cut off her fucking legs. He just cut off her legs and left her crawling in the vents. And to add salt to the wound, she got replaced by probably one of my favorite Book 1 bot skins. This is Robbie, a security mall droid that has gone rogue and will now kill all survivors and infected lurking about. Wait, is that 4 BSC? After standing face to face with the killer robot, you two have a tea party and dance around. and go shopping together at the mall. Yay, friendship! And Robbie says, thank you, Nova. All I wanted was a friend all along. Here, take all the things you need to escape. Such a generous guy, am I right? Don't look at the actual gameplay for this chapter, that's what happens. Once we escape into the room, the figure locks itself in. We demand they show themselves, only to be met by Georgie? This adventure had gone on for so long, I totally forgot we were even looking for him. He tells us about his family and how when they came back from the hospital one day, they were acting strange and aggressive. He got scared and he ran away from his home trying to find Grandma. Although we already know how she ended up. He hid in the mall in a moment of sheer panic. Even Zizzy felt bad though, so he took him to the safe place. There you go, introduced to Zizzy's twin sisters, Z and Zuzi. Clever engineer known as Mimi, and a passionate biologist known as Giraffe. You'll banter for a bit until Mimi picks up a helicopter signal. Wait a second, Mr. P? Oh hell no! You leave to go kick his potato ass! As you leave, Zizzy and Pony also follow you to the outpost. Or should I say, Chapter 11. You realize the signal came from a military outpost, and you look in fear to see all the infected roaming the place, including this chapter's gimmick. Wait, how am I gonna spice this up? The chapter review, Wait, I got it!
Zizzy, look out!
Oh, don't worry, I got this!
They just left the tank unattended like this? Someone can just get on it and shoot someone. After finally opening the door, you... What? Bring up the papers!
Hey, you guys being cool, I have to go kill a bitch now.
Wait, I'm going with you because he also killed my family.
Georgie, are you stupid? This could have gotten you killed, and now this is even more dangerous. I guess that settles it. Let's go kill his ass!
Okay now, before we move on to chapter 12, let's go over a bonus chapter mini-tune added to the game called Distorted Memory. To spice this chapter up, here's a Let's Play!
What a nightmare! Penny, you awake? Penny?
Last time I did this chapter was like 4 years ago. So, I don't remember where anything is. Is the werehog still... They removed the werehog. This is probably the most tragic part of this chapter actually. The wrench. You just ignore the massive sinkhole. Oh my! Wrench is down there. Oh god. Oh no! Oh right, you need the toys here. That's actually this chapter's gimmick. Aside from the whole, trippy, distorted memory thing, Right here. Ah, there's... Here. Where'd you, Georgie? Isn't that like the fucking thing from... What's that book called again? That's Mike and them. But I might think it's a different one, I'm not that smart. I'm gonna lose so much retention because of this section. Let's see, let me do something interesting to make this section more complete. I guess it's a cool inclusion, like giving us Georgie's point of view on something. Yeah. I could like be in character right now, but I'm pretty sure the voice I make for Georgie is like so insufferable. Yeah. Oh god. So I'll go to this back. I'll loop her out, and then I'll go back in, grab the toy. I'm out of here! That's not! Okay, we're back. Just need to get that dinosaur. God. Come on. Go, give me the key! Hurry up! Hurry up! There we go. No! Oh my god, I missed it. Fine. Vanish. Yeah, she can't get me now. Unless poorly timed vanish. But you know what? No, I got this. I got this. Yeah! Let's go. Okay. Penny, there you are. No, wait.
Penny, there you are. Is something wrong? Are you okay, big sis? Wait, come back! I don't feel too well. No, not now.
It's almost like it was a distorted memory.
That's distorted memory. George's recurring nightmare ever since he went to hide in the mall. The memories of his family, his sister, all those people he's lost, his home that he used to live in, comfort. It all haunts him, all that loss. For someone at such a young age, that's kind of tragic, don't you think? Honestly, I feel like Minitoon actually did some outstanding writing with Georgie in this chapter. It's not masterpiece, of course, but it's still really good, especially for a Roblox game. These sort of character chapters don't really give us some in-depth lore drops, and they're kind of just there to, explore characters. And honestly, I feel like that is what's really needed in Piggy a lot, since these characters are very likable at the end of the day. But, you know what? I feel like it's time to finally get to something. Final chapter of Piggy Book 1.
After a long journey, you and Georgie finally stand face to face with the man who took everything from you two. And as he continues to believe that you two are just simply mere ghosts that continue to torment him for his past actions, you become ready for the final fight. This time, he will stop you, as he should have stopped himself. You rush through the lab, grabbing potions, hammers, boards, all the keys and tools you've used up to this point of your adventure, as you finally get ready to put all the skills to the test and finally stop Mr. P once and for all. Here's a very dramatic artistic recreation of this. After finally accessing this chapter's gimmick, the dynamite, and successfully escaping the two bots, which are Mr. P and Badgie, don't think I forgot about mentioning those things, you're finally ready to put a stop to everything and blow this place up to the ground with the dynamite. Although, that's when you realize, you're not done. Your memories still linger. The round isn't over. Mr. P will not give up until he's gotten rid of those negative memories that haunt him till this day. You push forward, trying to find a way to make him snap out of it and escape this place, which only serves to remind you of all the pain and suffering. Wait, do you hear that?
How did this stupid ass Peppa Pig Roblox fan game get a fucking power ballad for its last chapter? And it's unironically good too. It's like actually good. I have no words. I'm genuinely speechless right now. Regardless, you finally managed to escape the mayhem by giving Mr. P a picture of the thing that started it all, his wife. It all starts coming back to him. He finally acknowledges your existence as not just a faded memory. Then he talks about how the researchers had to preserve and save him using mechanical parts. He starts feeling guilt for everything he's done up to this point. George takes this opportunity and asks him what he did to his family. He says they just wanted to help, but George isn't having any of it. He's gonna hurt Mr. P just like he hurt him. He begged him not to, as that will only make him as bad as Mr. P, and Georgie agrees. Mr. P offers to sacrifice himself for their escape. The place is infested with infected, so it's their perfect opportunity to go. This is where you're giving a choice. Are you going to help Mr. P and escape with him? Or are you going to leave with George, back with your friends? Now, depending on which one you pick is actually the good ending or the bad ending. Now, if you go with George, you get the good ending. And if you pick Mr. P, you know what? Let me add an artistic representation of what happens if you pick Mr. P. That settle it? Good. Anyways, for the good ending, you go outside to meet all your friends. They took care of all the infected, and everything seems to be fine. You talk about how you finally managed to take down Mr. P, and they're all very proud of you. One question remains though, where do they go from here? Georgie suggests they start finding a cure. Foreshadowing is a literary device where other hints at future.
Now, with these two endings, you might be wondering, which one's the canon one? I mean, it's clearly not the bad ending, because, you know, there's a book 2 and stuff. So it's the good ending, right? Well, what if I told you that the true canon ending was actually a hidden ending this whole time? Now, you see, Minitoon has a habit of making overly complicated puzzles to unlock scenes and skins for, like, no reason. And, well, I'm pretty sure this is, like, the first instance of that. If you play the city, player plus bot, and you grab a picture of Mrs. P under the car before you escape, and then you go to the plant, and then beat it like normal, and try to get the bad ending, you actually unlock the true ending. It's basically the same as the good ending, except Mr. P gives some very important context. A lot of it was information that we already knew, but there's still a lot which we didn't actually know. Like, for example, how the doctors actually had to rush the cure because Mr. P just couldn't accept that it was taking too long. He also tells us that the initial cure actually proved successful, which is probably why he let it spread the way he did. And we also learned that he actually tried saving Buddy by giving her the potion, not killing her. Maybe Mr. P wasn't as bad as we thought, but it's a shame because here's where his life ends, right when we start learning that maybe he wasn't such a bad person after all. We say our last goodbyes, and then the ending continues as normal as the good ending. Although there's another thing that changes. If you notice in the credits, his hat is now gone, which it was actually there for the good ending and the bad ending, which means he could still very well be alive. Although, future chapters, he doesn't show up, so I don't know what's up with that. That's Piggy Book 1. Now, Piggy Book 1 was the simplest of the books, yet it's still very strong, very effective. You know, I may joke a little bit about this game, but you know, some of the writing that Minitoon made on these chapters is actually pretty good. It gave us likable characters, and Mr. P as a villain was actually pretty cool. Book 1 left fans unsatisfied, though. I mean, all our favorite characters were still infected, and, you know, George still left on a cliffhanger saying that we have to go find a cure. Especially since Piggy was now, like, at an all-time high. Minitoon knew he had to do something. And, well, I think it's time we finally talk about the other side of the Piggy coin. Book 2.
Your mother's so fat they didn't call Ghostbusters.
Real quick, before I talk about Book 2, I just want to mention some things that were also going on around this time, which I feel very necessary to bring up. First of all, we had build mode. Build mode is basically Piggy Mario Maker.
That fucking bird that I hate.
And while a lot of people have built like genuinely amazing things with build mode, I tried accessing my inner Tony Stark.
Scan this guy's balls.
This is the greenhouse. The greenhouse is a map me and my friend built in like 3 days, and it's you know what? This is the best Piggy map ever. It's peak. This is amazing. Me and my friend even made lore for it. We added like our own Piggy OCs and everything. You know, despite everything, build mode is a lot of fun, I must admit. Though that friend who I built it with was also quite passionate about Piggy. In fact, they started playing right when it was released. If only I could like have an interview of sorts with them so I could get some context on how early Prime Piggy was for them.
Picture this. It's 2020. Puerto Rico just went into lockdown after 3 COVID cases appeared on the island. You're stuck at home, your Roblox account on your computer is gone because you were just randomly locked out of it and you forgot your password. On top of that, online school, miserable. So, with all of this, your older brother decides to be the best brother he could be and lend you his Xbox to play Roblox. That's when you discover a new game, or as I should say, experience, called Piggy. But this isn't the book 1 Piggy that we know today, because back then, chapter 5 wasn't even out yet. All it said was coming soon. And this is where I want to thank my friend for giving me the chance to talk about this. The early days of Piggy. We all know that in the chapter 1 house map, we had Peppa Pig's family portraits on the walls, we had the missing posters for George in the gallery, which unfortunately Minitoon had to remove them due to copyright issues. Well, the pictures now, some of them weren't replaced, some of them were empty, but yeah, copyright sucks, honestly. You can also compare and contrast the intro dialogue of today and back then. which they introduced George as George Pig. Then they changed it to George Piggy, and due to copyright laws, they changed it to Georgie Pig. Another thing I remember, and other OG Piggy players may remember, is from Chapter 1 to Chapter 4, before Chapter 5 was added, George was the default bot in all of those maps. Chapter 1, George. Chapter 2, George. Chapter 3, George. And let's think, which character was the bot for Chapter 4? Obviously, yeah, Doggy, but Doggy was the secondary bot. So after Chapter 5 came out, obviously Minitoon changed the bots and gave them its custom bots that we have today. For the cutscenes and sound changes, when Piggy came out, all the skins, well, mostly all of them, they had the Peppa Pig intro, but it was distorted. But also for the killing sound effect, it had the granny hit sound. And specifically, the doggy, father, and sheepy skin also were the granny hit sound, but the pitch levels were adjusted. You can check those out on YouTube, and a lot of it, you can just see the difference. And for the cutscenes, before it actually had a real ending, you just had the camera zoom away from the exit door with the word, "You escaped." And the music was from Call of Duty Black Ops 2, specifically from the map Mob of the Dead. I remember my brother pointed it out to me because obviously he played it, and obviously I didn't really pay much mind to it, but yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the other sounds were either deleted or just lost forever, which is a bummer, really. Finally, the redesigns, in which a lot of the skins from Piggy really changed, but some of them just received new accessories or just the texture changed overall. 4 honorable mentions though were Billy, because if you saw the Billy skin back then to the Billy skin now, that's a really huge shift. As well as Mr. P. Mr. P had a ton. Original Mr. P, which was yellow potato. And then you just shifted into now a purple potato with a suit and just purple potato. Amazing. As well, you also have Sheepy, which Sheepy originally had the zizzy skin, and you compare that to now, it's more like a realistic sheep, not the Peppa Pig sheep, which is low-key. I like that design. I really like it. It's really cute. And the kitty skin, that one changed. Like first it was the ears. I remember the ears were round, then they got triangular, and then like the entire face changed. Yeah, if you told me back in 2020 that Piggy would evolve into having all of this lore, I genuinely would not believe you at all. But I am so happy with the shift Piggy has had, and I'm glad Minitoon kept on with the project and now has a fandom, has lore, has like a ton of twists. Zizzy, if you know, you know. But really, I'm so happy with how much it has evolved.
Well, thanks for saving me a section. Make sure to subscribe to WhatInTheMyth, and yes, another thing that happened around the time was a huge income in Piggy clones. As is with every huge Roblox trend, once it becomes popular, there will be people trying to cash in from that success, and Piggy was no exception. Everyone and their cats was making piggies out of anything. Ronald McDonald, Sesame Street, bacon hairs, even like BFDI for some reason. I mean, hell, look, I turned a fucking pizza buddy into a piggy. It's really not that hard.
Whoa, guys, so I drank this kind of potion now. Now I look kind of like I'm alive, but you know, it ain't so bad. At least I got arms. Anyways, Piggy ripoffs and inspired games, yeah. So first off, we got probably the second most popular one, Bacon. Some evil bacon hair that's, you know, killing us, escape and stuff, you know, pretty basic. Like, actually, it's just Piggy with a different coat of paint. Oh yeah, we can't forget microtransactions! Because I need my fisherman bacon skin. Alright, so next we got Guesty. Now this one was actually pretty good, all things considered. This one used guests, which is definitely better than bacon hairs. Really all I gotta say about it, you know, it's alright. Next we got, Carmine, the bleeding red blood monster thing. Definitely pretty iconic. Come on guys, you remember Carmine? What about Doggy? Come on guys. Obviously you remember objects, right? Well, now they look at them side by side, they all look pretty similar, and there's a good reason for that. In around 2020, the YouTuber Alvinblocks uploaded a tutorial on a Piggy game, and people copied and copied and copied the hell out of this one. So yeah, they all look pretty similar because they all use the same kit from that game, and it kind of sucked anyway. So the last one we gotta talk about is Ronald, and Ronald had around 2 chapters, or at least I think so, before being discontinued, and it was about, Ronald McDonald going crazy, trapping everyone inside of the place before trying to beat them to death with a hammer. Business as usual by now. Oh wait, oh god, oh shit, I feel it fucking, oh shit, cramp, oh fuck, oh shit, oh.
Is everyone gone? Okay. Okay.
One thing I want to mention before we move on, lots of people at this time started making Piggy YouTube videos, a lot which I actually used to watch and I'm very familiar with. And don't worry, I have a whole ass section dedicated to them at the end. Oh yeah, baby, I have quite a lot to say about them. Anyways, that's enough yapping. Let's finally talk about book 2.
Why you always chasing me? Why me? Why you always chasing me? I just wanna get the key.
And finally, after so many months, we finally got the long-anticipated sequel to book 1. Say it with me, folks. Mr. Mintuna's Piggy. All along redesigns for all our favorite characters and higher quality everything. It seemed very promising for the community. Look, there's actual dialogue GUI now. Whoa. Anyway, let's see if it actually lived up to the hype, shall we? Chapter 1 is actually a flashback chapter. You see, I don't think I mentioned this, but in chapter 3 of book 1, when we escaped the gallery, Doggy mentioned something about like an arrest in the alleys, and well, what do you know, this chapter is called The Alleys. I wonder if that's related in any way. They say as if they're not about to reveal the chapter intended to play when it first came out. The chapter starts us off with Doggy! Doggy, my goat! He asks us if for sure that this is the place that the criminal we've been looking for months has been hiding in. And of course, since we're like the best detectives ever, we confirm that it's true. And so the chapter starts out. Immediately you can notice a dramatic shift in quality. Everything looks so much nicer, the builds are more polished, and even the gameplay has been enhanced by a little bit. You see, this time around there's actually a code door which you have to actually memorize numbers and actually look for. It's not just mindlessly searching for things and opening up things, you actually have to remember things down. And this is the start of this sort of like enhanced gimmick that all of these chapters are gonna have. It's like the book 1 gimmicks, but like a lot better actually. Either way, we're followed by this chapter by another one of the criminals we've been looking for, Rash the Raccoon. I love this guy, he's so silly. Look, I even have a Rash figure at home. Why did I even buy it? After we finally get the code and open the door, we see someone sprinting towards their hiding place. That must be the criminal. So we gather all the items we need and finally escape. Or should I say, leave the criminal with no escape. Once we enter, we come face to face with the criminal.
Willow is such a cutie.
Willow. This chapter serves as our introduction to Willow Wolf, a very important character in book 2 and genuinely one of my favorite characters to come out of a Roblox game ever. And you'll see why as we go on. We're here to finally arrest her for her multiple counts of stealing food and supplies all over Lucella. She pleads us not to, as she claims that it was just for her family, but Doggy can't let that get in the way of his job. After she calls off a surprise ambush by Rash, we proceed with the arrest. We start feeling pity for Willow, especially after seeing the other beds in her hiding place, which presumably belong to her family. Doggy eventually gives us some harsh but honest words. Sometimes we do things because we have to, and not because we want to. These words will become the underlying theme of book 2, so keep them in mind. After the flashback ends, we cut back to the safe place. Everybody living happy and comfortably. It's overall a really good scene. Mimi eventually comes up to us and lets us know about how she managed to get an old radio they found in a supply run working. It's just missing batteries, so you, Zizzy, and Pony all agree to go to the store and get some for Mimi. The classic trio is back for another adventure.
If Piggy were to have like a filler episode of sorts, this would be it.
The store, chapter 2, is just getting the batteries and getting out of there. It has no enhanced gimmick aside from like this cool remote tool, which I guess kinda serves as a gimmick. Aside from that, I guess the bot skin from this chapter is actually pretty cool. Her name is Dessa, and honestly, her design is one of my favorites. Also, another cool Piggy detail you might have noticed is you can actually tell a character's gender by their hands. If they use the boy package arms with fingers, they're a male, and if they had the Robloxian 2.0 arms with no fingers, they're a female. Since Dessa had the female arms and antlers, which typically grow on male deers, the community would headcanon her as trans. And eventually it was confirmed, which I actually think is super cool. Anyways, we get the battery and we get the hell out of there. Another successful mission from the old reliable trio. After arriving back at the safe place and finding out that Giraffe made a bet on our lives. Fuck you, Giraffe. Mimi manages to get the radio working. Not only that, she also manages to communicate with other survivors. The survivors in question claim to be from Settlement 6 and request to meet up at the Old Oak. Everyone agrees to go out and meet the new survivors, as they've all been isolated for months and haven't seen any fresh faces for a while. Pony is hesitant though. He feels something bad will happen, but after some convincing from Zizzy, of course he agrees. Yeah, I know what you are. Mimi and Giraffe stay though, so it's once again just the old reliable trio going out there to meet the survivors. At the end of the day, this just means another adventure. So you, Zizzy, and Pony set off to go meet the survivors. We arrive at the Old Oak, only to be greeted by TSP, the Silver Paw, a notorious criminal gang that has existed long before the infection, and their leader, Willow Wolf.
Willow is such a cutie when she's angry.
Not only that, she's still not too pleased about you taking her away from her family in the alleys. Her rage is further fueled by the presence of Pony, who used to be an ex-member of the TSP. Willow's rage culminates in her kidnapping of Zizzy for interrogation purposes. But it's weird, right? You figure she'd want to take you or Pony away, but instead she took the person she knew nothing about. Pony tries to stop Willow, but she pulls out a fucking gun character, by the way, and the TSP proceed to take Zizzy away. Pony then talks to us a bit about how wretched the group actually is, forcing him to do things and making him afraid to leave. Before we could get any more context on this though, he's afraid that they might actually be doing something really, really bad to her, especially since they're, very capable of doing so. And while we suggest that we should actually get some help before we actually break in and try to get Zizzy out, he says that there's no time, and we have to act quickly as possible if we want to save her from a group so evil. Alright, so chapter 3 starts off with us breaking into the old oil refinery that the TSP is using as a base. We start off by infiltrating... Damn. We break in the oil... Damn it! Dude! Okay. We go in... Fuck! Did I agree to make this fucking bit? I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but book 2 is like significantly harder than book 1, which is actually why it's not as popular as book 1, despite having a way better story in my opinion. This video is already getting way too long though, so let's just quickly talk about the important. The boss in this chapter is Tigray, who will become a very, very important character later on. And the enhanced gimmicks are these school guard NPCs that when activated basically serve as more bots that follow you. After freeing Zizzy from her cell, we see she's alive and well. They locked her in with an infected Officer Polly, and she's been fighting it the whole time, even beginning to enjoy it. Anyways, on our way out, we watch, absolutely numb, as Pony attempts to reconcile with his soon-to-be lost friend. We never knew if they were something more, but I believe this scene actually shows that there was more to their friendship than it seemed. Pony pleads Zizzy. Pony begs that this is all just a joke, but it's not. He wants to save her. He wants to find a cure. He's not leaving without her. He refuses to believe that this is the end of our trio, of our adventures, of his lover. But at the end of the day, there's nothing they can do. Zizzy offers to create a distraction so we can escape. They share a passionate hug, but we just watch. No reaction. This has happened so much already. You are desensitized to these feelings. You and Pony leave the refinery, leaving Zizzy in her last moments of peace. Arriving to the safe place. A terrible depression fills the air. Our morning, though, I mean, technically both mornings, are interrupted. You're woken up by Georgie. Apparently, they're bombing the safe place. Chapter 4 is all about you trying to free everybody from the ruin the safe place is in and getting out of there safely. This chapter's bot skin is Raze, who I still have no idea what the fuck it's even supposed to be. Is it like a killer robot? Is it an infected? If it is, why is there an infected in the safe place? It's literally called the safe place. I must admit though, it does have a pretty cool design. The enhanced gimmick this time around is an actual working elevator, which is kind of insane, although I don't really recommend using it if you're doing solo. Eventually, we all managed to finally escape, safe and sound. Well, all of us except for Z and Zizzy, who Pony searched all over and couldn't find. He felt responsible for them, so you can imagine how he felt after losing his girl and her sisters. Anyway, we find out that the people destroying the safe place are, of course, the ESB. Willow is furious. As the in-game pages say, if there was no better time to poop yourself, now would be the time. Pony asks her why she's doing this, and she just says it's just payback for destroying the refinery, which is strange. All we did was open a couple of doors and escape. I mean, she's probably just making that up because she's petty as hell. The Love You Willow TSP proceeds to take the Safe Place group and lock them up in a makeshift cell at the factory. The group gives Pony his much-deserved apology, and they think of a way to get out. Chapter 5 actually starts with Z and Zuzi. We find out that they're actually fine and they're trying to help us escape. I mean, how they knew we were here is a very big, important question, but you know, it's whatever. This chapter is honestly one of my favorite chapters ever in Piggy. So I want to make this section for this chapter completely improv. I don't want to have a script. I'm just going to give my true, honest opinions and talk about like some cool things I remember and some, you know, just things off script. This chapter has great atmosphere. The lights, the sewer water, it's like flowing, there's like a bunch of moving parts. It's a very well constructed chapter, and the narrow hallways it has also builds up a lot of suspense and a lot of hype. Paired up with the brand new coding and scripts that Minitoon gave the boss, it actually pairs off really, really well and creates a better horror experience than Piggy's ever seen. From this chapter on, the bots work a lot more differently. They don't always know where you are and are always pathfinding and following you. They now aim aimlessly around the map. It's a bit weird, and they place down traps at convenient places. And then once they actually spot you, that's when they start chasing you for a while, until either you stun them or you stall them long enough for them to, you know, not see you anymore. I feel like this bot system is great. It's actually way better than the other one, but it is a little bit more challenging. That's the truth. Unless you're like super stealthy and they never even like spot you once, then it's a lot easier. You know, I think it's depends on the type of person you ask. This chapter also marks our like first in-your-face direction on the insolence. It's a term that we've heard before, scattered in a couple of notes, but this is the first time it's ever been like present in your face. And it's this weird, creepy classroom that's, you know, why is it all the way down here in the sewers? It's still one of those like mysteries that we still haven't gotten a confirmation for. And it's even noted in the books, in the pages we collect. It's very strange. Also, if you've noticed a bunch of graffiti all over the walls of the sewer, that's actually part of a cool art contest that Minitoon held to have your art featured in the sewers as graffiti. And honestly, I think all the artists did a really good job. Lastly, I want to talk about Alphys. That's the bot skin for this chapter. It's a cool alligator guy. He's got a banger chase theme, and I bought him when he first came out. And honestly, he's one of my favorite bot skins ever. After finally unlocking everything and you getting ready to escape the sewer and free your friends, Zizzy say they need to go back and get a couple of things. And will you thank them for, you know, the escape? You get out of the sewers and you get ready to free your friends. They're all very thankful of your help, but the escape isn't finished yet. Z and Zuzi are waiting outside, so you guys gotta get out of there as fast as possible. We then zoom into Tigre. He's been watching us the whole time, and as he gets ready to fucking kill us, well, he hesitates. Maybe he doesn't want to do this. Although Willow shows up, she aims, she says, "This one's for you, William," like she has no reason to fucking say that. And then, oh my, everyone goes to Giraffe's aid. He's really, really hurt, and we might actually lose him. Although you have had enough. You are ready to take down Willow for everything she's done. For Zizzy, for Giraffe, for everyone. Oh god, improv is hard. I'm going back to the script. Hang on, guys.
It's finally time for the long-anticipated and very much deserved confrontation with Willow. You and Pony stand face to face with her, ready for a nasty brawl, as an infected begins to emerge from the sewers, because of course Pony does. Willow, petty as ever, also gives you a head start. And well, the battle begins, taking place on the very factory where everyone from the safe place was taken, making an intense setting. Enough of that though, it's finally time to take down Willow once and for all.
After surviving that interesting battle with Willow, you meet up with the rest of the safe place gang outside. Although it turns out that Willow's actually alright. She follows you outside and she's done playing by the rules. She pulls out her gun, consumed by her rage, and then she just shoots us. And that's Piggy Book 2. A bit shorter than Book 1, but well, what do you mean branching timeline? Yeah, so this chapter's special, like, enhanced gimmick are all the members of the TSP. Let me explain. You see, scattered all over the map are these extra tools which you can give a troubled member of the TSP and help them escape. There are 6 total, and you get a different ending depending on how many you rescue. If you rescue none, well, if you rescue some, you get the survivor ending, and if you rescue all of them, you get the savior ending. I'll be discussing the differences between the last two, since, in the survivor ending, before Willow shoots the player, the TSP members you rescue convince her not to, and after seeing Z and Zuzi and realizing she took her sister away from them, she actually starts feeling remorse for what she's doing. Tigre from the distance knocks Willow's gun from her hand, and Willow lies on the floor. She begins to apologize, but it's a bit difficult to forgive her for everything she's done so far. Regardless, Mimi says Giraffe will be fine, although she needs to stay with him in the factory to ensure his recovery. We won't know anything about them, but we'll just have to trust that they'll be fine. And since Willow knows that she might never be forgiven, she just tries to do the next best thing she can. She offers to save her, to save Zizzy. She says she's heard of a cure being worked on up north and offers to take us there so we can take it and finally save Zizzy. She claims that she hid this from us because she vowed to find the cure herself and cure her brother William. She's finally accepted that he's gone, and he doesn't want Zizzy's sisters to go through the same grief she went after losing her sibling. Willow comes with us to make sure we get that cure, and, well, we all forgive her. We take her offer, and we head to the ports to start sailing our way up north. Real quick, in the Savior ending, everything's the same, except Mimi actually comes with us, as the TSP members agree to take care of Giraffe. There's one more cutscene that appears in both endings, though, and honestly, I'm just gonna let it play out for you to see, because it's one of my favorite cutscenes in the game ever.
So, where do I even begin? This cutscene alone is genuinely one of the reasons why I really like Willow as a character. It shows us her backstory, her past relationships. It explains a lot of her motives.
Her love for her brother William is sweet yet tragic.
It's probably the most direct the Piggy developers have ever been with us in the entirety of the game. And honestly, it just gives Willow this amazing characterization, especially with the song that's playing in the background. The song named An Untold Story is genuinely a banger. Please go check it out. It's supposed to play in this cutscene, but I switched out with another banger, Your Life Flashing Before Your Eyes by Dreamcorp. Also check them out. They're very underrated, very small indie producer. You should really check both of these out. But about the Untold Story, it really suits Willow. It's like they asked them to make a song that's like, oh, make Willow's life into a song, and then they made Willow's life into a song, and it's like accurate and amazing. And genuinely, I couldn't think of a better track that could fit this entire cutscene. This cutscene is also what begins to sell us, the player, to Willow. Because so far, she's just been a nuisance. She's been annoying. She's been destroying everything we built up to this point. But this is where we start sympathizing with her, where we understand that what she's doing has underlying motives. And here's where we start actually learning to understand Willow and getting to know her. I'm not gonna like break down everything that happens in that cutscene. I'm pretty sure you can get everything just by watching it. I'm just gonna keep going before I keep yapping, you know. This video is already long enough. This chapter also marks the end of the Willow as a villain arc. It's honestly one of my favorite arcs in Piggy, if not my favorite of all time. Although, now it's time for a different villain to take the spotlight. Will they hold a candle to the greatness that was Willow Wolf? Well, we'll just have to go and see.
Chapter 7, The Port, is nothing too special. You find a way to power up the lighthouse to see if you can hitch a ride on any nearby ships, now that Tigre's has stolen Willow's personal TSP ship. It has a really cool bot skin though, it's Dakota. The cool thing about this chapter is that it's yet another place completely run down by the insolents. You see notes scattered all over about strange creatures, mysterious deals, and you see a plethora of these eye symbols all over. I haven't really talked about these that much, but these are the eyes of the insolents. These eyes are everywhere throughout Book 2, and they're a sort of symbol used to represent one big puppet master controlling everything. They're also found in a lot of Piggy skins, like most notably Mr. Stitchy, who's been one of the Piggy community's biggest mysteries for years. He just showed up a random Halloween event, and nobody's figured out what it is ever since. Presumably though, all infected with the Eye of the Insolents are under the command of the ruler of the Insolents. The Piggy community would begin to theorize on who this is months before the actual reveal, but you'll see who that is later. Another cool Easter egg on this map is that if you actually click on all the eyes and then knock on this door, then what the fuck is that? When we escape, we're met by the one and only Captain Budgie, and we aboard her ship, the Medora. She offers to take us up north if someone could go to the bottom of the ship and get the fuel she needs to make the trip, and you and Willow offer to go get it. The difference in the Savior ending is that we actually get a name of the place we need to go to, which is Doveport, and maybe also mentions a friend from there that she used to study with. Maybe we might get to meet them. One of the hardest maps in Book 2, you and Willow traverse to the bottom of the ship and get the oil. The infected crew serves as the same as the TSP members in the refinery, except this time, Willow's there to knock him down. Motherfucker just roundhouse kicks him, like, name a better girl mod. Bot skin for this chapter is Archie, and genuinely, I feel like these bot skins are getting better and better. Anyway, the chapter ends with an infected locking you and Willow in the fuel container. With nothing left to do, you request a talk. Willow doesn't want to. She still hates you for what you've done, for taking her and her family away. You tell her we were just following orders. We do things because we have to, not because we want to.
He said it! He said it!
And you call her out for also being a monster that took your friends away from you. Although, like Willow says, we can't be angels in a world like this. Absolute heat. I think despite Willow's refusal, this moment actually bonded the two of you immensely, and definitely sells the audience more on Willow, like I was mentioning at the end of Factory. The rest of the party free you and Willow, and you two go back to the ship's deck, only to be met by explosions in the horizon. In the Savior ending, all that changes is this little cutscene right here. Yup, that's about it. Where did the infected go? No clue. Regardless, you keep pushing forward. Let's bring back some of the spice from Book 1. These recaps are getting boring as hell. I call this poem The Talks. Budgie thanks you for getting the oil, but Willow is so mad she looks like she'll boil. It seems the tiger had arrived in the boat adorned by foil. So you leave Budgie be and finally touch that soil. The bot skin of this chapter is a very cool one. His name is Marcus, and by the insolence he's been overrun. Even possessing powers that, when you think you're done, he teleports straight to you, and now you gotta run. His chase theme also sounds like your mother's a basketball by fucking Joe Coffey. Pony sees him and tries his best to fend him off, but gets hurt in the process. He's not so tough. Luckily, your friend is sturdy and still going rough, and him turning infected is nothing but a bluff. Enhanced gimmicks I've forgotten to mention, since there's not a lot to give attention. This chapter is a candle for your information, that can also give you a weird, crawly creation. At the very end of the chapter, the tiger you meet, very nice fellow, apologizes for his actions after the greet. We do things because we have to, not because we want to, you repeat. He understands and informs us that Willow is trying to cheat. He asks us to join his cause and help him get the cure, but we deny, not falling for a false alert. Pony meets up with us, saying going with him would be more pure, but we stick with Willow so her redemption arc isn't sure. Lastly, outside in the snow we begin to walk, when a metallic memory to you pounces and stops. Turns out his inventor's in a lab nearby and he wants to talk, so we're trudging through the snow, white like chalk. Kona is his name, inventor of the Mawbot. Not the one with the chainsaw though, believe it or not. He's passionate about his work, so instead of go he'd rather rot. And he tells us that the exit's downstairs, and the road to the cure we've now got. One last thing I feel the need to add, in the Savior ending, we see the relationship him and Mimi had. He gives more context on the infected's strange new fad of teleporting and the military's explosive defense, which left Kona sad. Before we go to the dangerous play below, Robbie comes with us, no crew, and no Willow. Kona hands Mimi a spare radio so she can always say hello whenever they need some help from this fellow. It's so stupid. Chapter 10, The Temple. How the fuck did we even get? This chapter though is genuinely immaculate. The atmosphere, the layout of everything, Robbie as an NPC kicks ass, and the bot skin is one of my favorites in the whole game. Her name is Spadella. She has a banger chase theme which is actually going to be playing in the background, and really good animations. I wonder who made. Anyway, this chapter has a cool swinging axe. I'm counting that as the enhanced gimmick. Fuck you. And you can also unlock the Fenna skin in this chapter. I forgot how, so I recommend looking up a guide if you're interested in that. Anyway, the chapter ends with you and Robbie clearing out the path, and you, Pony, and Willow heading to the military camp to get that cure, with Robbie staying behind to protect the children. You three chat about how crazy it is that you're finally finding a cure to end this whole mess. And Pony mentions someone who might be pulling the strings and coordinating the pushes of infected up north. What a fucking head case, am I right? Anyways, in the Savior ending, you meet the guy who's pulling all the strings. You get transported to your memories, confused as ever, until a strange figure shows up. You had to be there to see the collective reactions of everyone after seeing this fucking dude. I mean, look at him! This shit wasn't in Peppa Pig! The figure explains that what happened at the school, the second phase of the plant, and presumably the TSP's endangerment at the factory was all his doing, and offers you a special deal, since he thinks you're very special. He says that you're immune to the infection, which is actually really cool, but I mean, you're still not immune to getting blown up by a fucking rocket launcher, so you still gotta avoid them. Anyway, about that deal, if you join his cause, he will help you see all your friends you've lost to the infection again. You refuse his offer though, and he tells you that if you wish to refuse, you must stop your path to the cure and proceed to bring you back to reality. Pony then claims he's seen him too after he did some things in the TSP he wasn't proud of. Willow urges him to tell us, but Mimi interrupts. This time we all head to the camp, not just you, Pony, and Willow. Okay, the camp. I'm gonna speed through this chapter as fast as I can. Cool map, very snowy, similar concept to the ship with other bots, but Willow, Pony, take him out. Basket Dotto has a really good chasing playing in the background. Woo! Gimmick. Boom, 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 boom. You unlock elevator, boom, escape. Let's talk about the Savior cutscene first, since in Survivor, it's the same, except there's not like a little mini cutscene at the start. Pony says he wants to chat with us, and he admits that he thought you were infected at the carnival because he gave you and Doggy the potions. What? You are pissed at him. Like, what? And you are ready to smack the shit out of him? But of course, Georgie has to step in, blah blah blah, the same speech we gave him about Mr. P. Boring. And then after we gather Willow, who seems to be looking at something weird, the crew goes down the elevator. Here's where the Survivor ending starts off too. It's the same thing in both endings. When we arrive, we see Tigre setting off the explosions, and after one last insult from Willow, he snaps. He says he's done and stands up for himself. casually initiating a fight scene. I'm pretty sure this was animated by Dexter Plays, and it's a well choreographed, very entertaining fight scene. I always love when Minitoon gets other people from his community to make stuff for the game. Unluckily though, the explosions tag reset go off, and you're all by yourself once more. Yeah, also that happens, but before I talk about Book 2's ending, and the ending to Piggy as a whole, here are some things that happened before that I feel very important to mention. Piggy released 2 spin-offs. The demo to Intercity, which is a project Minitoon's been working on for a while and is finally going to release this year. Piggy Hunt, which is an entirely different game produced on Steam by Fat Mojo. Yes, the toy company. To coincide with Piggy with its own lore. I would talk more about this, but there's already like a ton of videos talking about this. Piggy merch everywhere. You couldn't escape it, no matter where you went. The amazing April Fool's updates, can't forget about those. The winter holiday chapter, a bunch of Halloween and Christmas themed skins. I'm not sure if this was before chapter 12 or after chapter 12, but they made a bunch of novels, and I mean, look at this Willow design, it's like the best thing ever. Pickle Rick, a bunch of event collaborations with Piggy, most notably RV Battles and Ready Player 2. It also won like 500 Bloxies, and it got like the Builderman's like Best Choice Awards shit that the Bloxies do. Builderman has some taste for sure. And finally, 2 character-focused chapters, which are actually very good, and I'll just quickly talk about them before talking about chapter 12. The first chapter is Heist. Heist is actually a Willow-focused character chapter. This is the best day of my life! And it takes place as soon as Daisy left to the military. William is feeling a bit upset, and so Willow goes out and tries to steal something. You can play either as Willow or Pony in this chapter. It's absolutely random. This chapter is very fun, and honestly, the Polybot has such fire music. I've always loved the Alleys chapter, and seeing more of it is just fantastic. The enhanced gimmicks are these cool, like, laser things where you go and get the ultimate treasure that you have to go get the William, a pie. You also get cool cameos from Rash and Billy, who apparently were a part of Willow's old gang, or a friend group, I guess. I'm not sure. Remember that one cutscene in the factory, which I said was one of my favorites and was one of the best in the entire game? What if I told you that there was a second one, almost as good, localized entirely within
your kitchen? Yes. Mash it? No.
It starts off with things we already knew, like William's disappearance and Willow wearing his scarf after he left. God, I just love wearing the dead relatives' clothes and accessories trope. But it shows us the part of Willow's backstory, which we didn't actually get insight of. Like, what happened after she got arrested in the alleys? How she found Tigry? Pony's involvement in the TSP, including infecting us and Doggy. Rash's whereabouts. How Pony even got to the safe place to begin with. And lastly, what Willow saw at the very end of the camp. Daisy lying there, infected and motionless. This cutscene also has a really great track, like the one in the factory. It's called Wash Clean by the River, and it's currently playing in the background, but I have to make it really low for copyright. So if you're interested in it, I suggest checking it out. It's really good. It's also made by the guy who voiced fucking Music Man in like FNAF, which I find really funny and I feel the need to point out. The second character-focused chapter is actually about Zizzy, and it's another genuinely really fun one. It's very trippy too. You don't know what's real and what's not. I mean, like, the sisters are chasing you as infected, but you know that they're alive and well and they're with us. It takes place right before we leave the refinery. Zizzy is obviously making a distraction so we can escape, and, well, she decides to take the most normal measures she can to make sure that we can escape safely and start bombing the refinery. Although this actually lets us know that when Willow was destroying the safe place, she wasn't lying about the refinery being in shambles. It was all Zizzy's doing. But maybe Zizzy did a good thing. You didn't hear that from me. In this chapter, you also, fight off, Sentinels. Sentinels are, these black goopy Piggy things that are created by Tio. And genuinely, this went so hard, it was so badass. After successfully setting up all the dynamite and getting ready to escape the refinery, you end up in a weird void. The strange figure from chapter 10 reveals itself once again. He then starts trying to manipulate Zizzy, trying to get him on his side, trying to make deals with her. He then explains a bit of his backstory. He used to be a very quiet child, and he used to get picked on a lot, until he made a friend from the other side. But then he started becoming more like his friend. He started inhibiting all the otherworldly properties he had, and his friend did not take this lightly. He absolutely loathed it, and he made sure to let the world know. And that's when his time in this weird realm as the puppet master began. He starts to wonder if she might actually end up just like him. The she in question is Z, one of her sisters. If you haven't noticed, she hasn't uttered a single word throughout the story. Zizzy says that she'll never become someone like him, and she asks his intentions. That's when he decides that if he can't get Zizzy on her side, maybe he can bring someone in who can. Coney shows up, and they begin to have a very heartfelt conversation. I'm just gonna let this play out. Stupid pony with your fucking simp, cheesy, corny lines making me fucking sob. And of course the moment had to be interrupted by this Bill Cipher wannabe. Anyway, Zizzy gets ready to make the decision. Join the mysterious figure. Until something stops her. We still don't know what this is to this day, or Zizzy's fate. But hopefully we'll get answers in Intercity or something. I guess it's finally time to talk about the finale of Book 2 and Piggy as a whole. Well, at least for now. Alright, Chapter 12. How do I even talk about this chapter? Okay, there's 5 separate endings. So, I think the best way to talk about this chapter has to be with a tier list. Let's go, baby! Chapter 12 ending tier list! But before that, I want to mention the box game for this chapter, which is actually, like, petty. It's Piggy, like, from Chapter 1, Book 1. It's come full circle, and I actually really like the decision that Minifin took. She also has a really, really cool new design, which is, like, completely overrun by the insolence. Penny is far gone. She is dead, and her corpse is being reanimated by the insolence. By the mystery figure, and honestly, that's honestly so scary, so creepy, so I love it. Alright, let's start off with the Willow Survivor ending. Honestly, I think it's kind of meh. It's honestly one of my least favorite endings of this chapter. You see, the endings of this chapter actually depend on the finale. Willow and Tiger are having a final face-off, and it depends on whoever you give the weapons to help win. And of course, it also kind of depends on whether you got the Survivor and Savior in Factory. Well, in this ending, you help Willow win the fight, and you let her take the cure. She says she'll meet you outside and hand you over the cure. She just needs a minute. It's a bit strange, but, you know, we trust her. Anyways, we go back outside, and we're met by Pony. He's lying on a tree. Apparently that attack on the docks was actually lethal, and he's turning infected. We try to save him by giving him the cure we just got, but Willow just takes it and runs off. I like Willow as a character, but not in this ending. She has no reason to just ditch us like that, especially Pony. She doesn't even know where William is. What is she gonna do with the cure? All the time we spent bonding with her in the entirety of the game meant nothing. And genuinely, this is one of the most depressing endings to the entire game. And not in like a delicious type of depressing, just kind of disappointing. I sound so fucking pissed. Anyway, next up is the Tiger Savior ending. And honestly, I think this one's alright, which is kind of shocking, I know. In this ending, you actually help Tiger win. And to show his gratitude, he actually helps you and gives you the cure. You ask about his friend that I wanted to cure, and then he said that he actually made a new friend, which is you, and he thanks you. He's a lot nicer than Willow, that's for sure. You meet up with Pony, and you leave with Tigray. Pony says that he thinks the others went upstairs since the elevator car isn't there. And then Tigray's charges go off because he forgot to set them off. Tigray gets crushed and he dies. The elevator gets blocked off, and Pony starts turning infected. Yep, this ending is basically, everyone dies, you're doomed, the end. Although, remember what I said about the Willow Survivor ending? That even though it was depressing, it wasn't deliciously depressing? I think this ending is actually that deliciously depressing I was looking for. I believe this to be the lowest point for you in the entire story. You're trapped in with an infected pony, and there is no escape. What wraps it up in a nice little bow is you finally making that deal with the mystery man. It honestly serves greatly as a bad ending of sorts. Certainly a lot better than the other two at the bottom of this list. Next up on the list, we got Tiger Survivor. And genuinely, in my opinion, it's the worst ending of book 2. Just like in Tiger Savior, he lets you take the care since, you know, he made a new friend, you helped him out, and he's a very nice person. And well, all is well, because this time you actually managed to get out of the lab, and everybody doesn't die. Crazy, I know. But honestly, I preferred it when everyone died, because this ending is just so bullshit. Coincidentally, when you go out, you get attacked by an infected. And then Pony starts turning infected, like in all the endings. But you know, this time, he tells you what he did to Doggy, because in Survivor, you didn't know about that. You see, I like Pony as a character. When I said that you should kill him for trying to infect you and Doggy, I didn't actually mean it. And so you just drink the cure yourself and leave. The Willow ending was so much better because at least the cure got used on someone who wasn't immune. Willow took it, and God knows what she did with the cure. And to add salt to the wound, the ending ends with, "And we almost did it, player." Actual bullshit ending, like, oh my god. Alright, there's 2 more endings left to talk about. The Willow Savior ending and the Hidden ending. And honestly, between the both of them, I'd say the Willow Savior ending is actually better than the Hidden ending. Let me explain. You see, the Hidden ending is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. Not only to get it, you need to save Pony from the docks, which means he doesn't turn infected, but you also don't have to pick between Willow and Tigray. To get it, you also have to do a bunch of really complicated, like, puzzles and stuff. And by doing those puzzles, you actually get to the room with the cure before Tigray and Willow initiate the second phase, which is the final face-off where you have to choose. Mimi interrupts though and brings all of you outside. The military's here. Mimi sent a distress call to the military so they could pick us up with the cure. The sergeant of the military, Sergeant Monroe, mentions that it's a bit weird that this military outpost has been destroyed. It's like someone's been coordinating pushes up here. That's when we get teleported back to our memories by the mystery man. He finally reveals his name as Tio, the Inquisious one. He says that he's only doing this for everyone's good. He's saying that the cure will tear everyone apart. Everyone will want it. Everyone will fight for it. And he has to stop you once and for all to prevent this calamity. I also really love the final confrontation with Tio. His final form, this weird bendy looking goopy thing, is so fucking cool. I love it so much. And when he's finally defeated, asterisk, we get a neat little ending. Tigray and Willow actually decide to team up and go their separate ways. It's very wholesome, not gonna lie. Especially seeing Willow's character arc completely realized. She realizes everything she did was wrong, and she's promised to change for the better. She's still a badass, so don't worry. And well, the rest of the safe place goes with the military to administer and make more of the cure. It's a really good ending, right? I mean, I guess, but I feel like the Willow Savior ending has something this ending doesn't, which actually makes it better. And there's also that big reveal at the end that Tio was never defeated, so the entire ending is absolutely pointless. I mean, it's never been explained, but I mean, presumably Tio was never defeated and we're in just one of our memories. The Willow Savior ending, though, is genuinely my favorite ending. It's actually the same as the Willow Survivor ending, where Pony is dying and Willow leaves with the cure, but this time she actually comes back and gives it to him. After saving Pony, the rest of the gang asks her where the cure went, and she just says it got crushed under the rubble. So why is the ending where we don't even get the cure the best ending? Well, in my opinion, it's how the characters choose to move on from this point. It's the sense of growth this adventure has given us. It's the sense of community. It's the sense that we're all in this together. And it's the sense that we move on for a brighter future. We go back to the lab, grab a bunch of files, and give them to Kona. We're ready to make our own cure. We're ready to make our own difference. And honestly, it's such an uplifting ending. Even though Willow leaves at the end of the ending, I believe that it's the best ending for all of us. And besides, Willow stuff, she can survive by herself. Like, come on, man. Unfortunately, though, even though Minitoon said all the endings are canon and you get to choose which one is the real ending, that doesn't seem to be the case, because it appears that the actual ending is actually the hidden ending. You see, Piggy released a couple of chapters after book 2, mostly character-focused chapters, and there was one about Tigray, and at the end we see Willow and Tigray on their own, on good terms, which only happens in the hidden ending. But I guess I'm not too mad about that, it was still a pretty good ending. But with all that said, that was Piggy book 2. Honestly, for a Roblox game, it has a surprisingly very solid story. I think I've already expressed how much I love Willow as a character, and honestly, Tio is so menacing and so cool and creepy, I can't help but love him. I know it's not peak literature, SpongeBob roller coaster gif, it's not like the best, you know, it's like Walking Dead, but you know, for kids on Roblox, but you know, it's still decent, you know, I still really like it, and all the characters are amazing and lovable. And honestly, I think book 2 was a worthy successor to book 1 and genuinely wrapped off the series in a really nice bow. But now that we're done talking about the game, let's talk about the thing I made this video in the first place for. The community and the content creators.
Started at the house where Georgie Pig went missing. Looking at the photos of him, we were reminiscing.
Creekcraft. Creekcraft was a very prominent Piggy YouTuber back in his early days. He used to do a lot of jailbreak content, but then he switched on to Piggy since it was blowing up and it was like the next popular thing. And jailbreak wasn't really doing anything for him anyway, so he felt it was the right time. Early prime Piggy Creekcraft was honestly the best form of Creekcraft. He always found ways to make his live streams entertaining, especially during ARG hunts. Creekcraft and Piggy were like a symbiotic relationship though. They were unstoppable. Whenever you think of Creekcraft, you think of Piggy. And whenever there's new Piggy content, you want to watch Creekcraft play.
In bed crying to sleep because you have no friends, you have no girlfriend, you have no boyfriend. You are literally nobody.
Piggy skyrocketed Creekcraft and made him into the person and the huge content creator he is today. There are so many things I can talk about Creekcraft. Like, I can talk about his old content, his admittedly kind of funny out of context compilations, his entourage of like other YouTubers, like for example, Chiseled and Steak. Creekcraft to me is just so interesting. Like,
dude, whoever's got the cup or whatever that is, it's right here.
He has no concept of what a dreidel is. He needs to be protected. Fuck. Do you remember Creaky?
Oh, good boy. Kayla, I think he's peeing on me again. I really need a Starbucks right now.
Okay, quick side tangent. What the fuck even was Creaky? Timid became like Creekcraft's mascot. You know, there was like, he held a contest where like if you dressed up as him, you could have like won some stuff. I still have the fucking avatar. He put up a Timmy plushie in the shop, which I begged my mom to buy, but she like, why would you want that piece of junk? And low-key, I feel like very grateful that she said that. Thank you, Mom. And of course, you can't forget about Timmy, the game.
I think I know a way out of here. Perfect. No, let's split up, baby mama.
This is just fucking Piggy. Okay, side tangent note. I feel like I could ramble on about this man, like deadass make a full video just on him. But since we're just talking about the Piggy side of Creekcraft, then I believe that we should just get straight to the point. You see, Creekcraft is someone very guided by like what's popular. While other content creators choose to grow up with their audience and hence are very liked by the audience that grew up with them, Creekcraft just decided to keep making content for kids. Once Piggy ended, he hopped into the next big thing, which was stores.
How the fuck do you know my mom's name?
And then he went to Rainbow Friends, Skibidi
This is a little
Toilet,
bit different.
Raise a
As
Floppa,
well, you might be seeing
Garden of Ban, Grow a Garden, Steal a Brain Rot.
Is the brain rots that come down the conveyor belt here? Is it the same on every server? Like Grow a Garden?
And honestly, I just can't help but respect him for that. Creekcraft is a very easy punching bag, and even though he is very corny, especially nowadays where he tries to, you know, feed into the ADHD brain rot that kids have, you know, I still can't help but admire and respect them as one of the greats of Roblox YouTube. Another person I want to talk about is Antics. If you thought Creekcraft was like the de facto Piggy guy, you were absolutely mistaken. Antics was low-key the GOAT of Piggy YouTube. He'd always be releasing a new theory, new character analysis, new trailers, new leaks. He had many interviews with Minitoon, like members of the dev team. I don't know how he even got in contact with them. He made this one Piggy rap, which I actually find kind of hilarious and I think of from time to time. He'd also occasionally do skits. You know, his most famous fucking video on YouTube is Stupid Among Us parody. Sometimes he made clickbait, but let's not talk about that. He even had this one like series, which was like a game show where he interviewed a bunch of other Piggy YouTubers. I remember one time he brought Minitoon to one of these game shows, and I remember getting a better score than him, and that made me really happy for some reason. But of course, I can't talk about Ant Antics without talking about probably the craziest thing a content creator has ever done. Okay, so there was this one tweet this one time. I'm not sure when it was, but it was about like, Minitoon has recently made a deal with Netflix. And well, Ant Antics was obviously covering that, and he made a video on it. But then it was revealed that it was eventually going to lead to nothing. So there was not going to be like a Piggy Netflix show or Netflix series or a movie or anything. So this absolute psychopath decided, you know what? I'm just gonna casually make my own 4-hour fucking Netflix series for Piggy. What the f? He called it Antflix, but then it had to be changed to Animation after he got a false cease and desist from one of his fans that said that he couldn't use Netflix branding in his name. And then when he found out it was fake, he just changed it back to Antflix out of pure spite, which is casually the biggest power move I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. If you're interested, I suggest giving it a watch. But I still think it's just so insane that he did this almost entirely by himself too.
Hey, doggy, do you hear that? Yeah, sorry, that was me. Spicy burrito last night. Ew.
Also, while researching this part of the video, I found this post by Ant Antics, and if you're watching this video, I really hope things get better for you, and I hope you know you left a positive input on my childhood. Please send support to this man. He deserves it. There are 2 other content creators I want to talk about before I move on to the animators. And before I move on to them, I want to give an honorable mention to Jake Globox. He also used to make a lot of Piggy content, but I can't really say much about him since he's not one of the ones I used to watch. Now, let's talk mango.
Fruit with the most vitamin A is mango. 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 Mango.
Devown was a small content creator from Australia, and he was honestly one of my favorite YouTubers back then. He started out making skits and gameplays for games like Cuphead and Human Fall Flat, but he really only started blowing up once he started making his iconic Piggy content. His main series was the Piggy meme reviews and the suggestion reviews, and I would argue that they're pretty iconic and still stand up to this day. Some could say it's stealing content, but I disagree, honestly. I mean, all the memes and suggestions came from his Discord server that his fans made for him. I'm also very sure that he gave Robux to a bunch of them, so it's even better. I remember back in his first couple meme reviews, he was actually very funny, I must admit.
Of a Piggy meme and Halloween's coming up. Let's check it out. Bam!
Estos putos que solo andan chingando mejor les parto su madre. Así que se las hice de pedo y ellos me tiraron una piedra y me rompieron las ventanas de mi casa, así que les grité, ¿por qué no mejor me avientas a tu hermana jugas XD? Los vatos me pegaron una putiza y quedé todo.
He added a lot to the memes, and he wasn't just reading them, laughing, and reacting and moving on. He actually added, and he even made his own mini memes to go along. I may just be nostalgia blinded, but that's my take. Of course though, almost every other series that keeps going, it felt like he just ran out of things to say. The meme reviews started getting more boring. Since Piggy ended, no one wanted to make suggestions anymore. And well, Devown started slowly falling off. When Piggy ended, he decided to move on to Bed Wars and Friday Night Funkin', which were 2 very popular things at the time. And that kept his channel on life support for a little bit, but eventually it wasn't enough. As a true Devown fan though, look, I even have the exclusive 300k merch, yeah, be jealous. I stuck around for a bit, even after Piggy ended, because he was genuinely such a very charismatic guy and a very good YouTuber. But even the fall off hit me, and it's kind of depressing actually. I was very surprised to see that he still uploads to this day, but his views are so small, it actually makes me so sad. I'm just glad that he's happy making the type of content he is currently. It seems making all those videos took a toll on him. I don't think he really liked making them that much, and he just did it for the views. But I genuinely hope this underrated YouTuber can once again get a popularity boost. If you have the time out of your day, please check out at least one of his videos. I'm sure you won't regret it. Devown, you're a real gorge pag. Now let's move on before I have to talk about the time you react to Futuristic Hub. Okay, I know I said I was gonna do 2 before I move on to the animators, but then I remembered like a bunch more YouTubers, so I'm just gonna do a quick lightning round and speed through all of them before I talk about the animators. We have the iconic Lanky Box. You know, they make videos on everything that's popular, so it's not surprising that they did a bunch of videos on Piggy, even a song that got nominated for a Bloxy. I think you know who Lanky Box is, and I don't think I need to elaborate further on the absolute hellscape that this channel is. Next, we got Banana Man, who made a bunch of Piggy tutorials and like guides, covered a bunch of leaks. You know, Banana Man's a goat, honestly. I saw like a trend on TikTok where it was like, I don't believe it unless Banana Man says it, and it kind of made me laugh. So, you know, this absolutely go to YouTuber. There was FGTV who made a song that did actually win a Bloxy for Piggy, and they also made this iconic thumbnail. What does it look like that? Oh, can't forget Ernie C3. Ernie C3 is also a goat. He made memes, edits, a bunch of tutorials. He's genuinely one of the greats, and he's still uploading to this day. And finally, Mini Moon, which is actually a really recent channel. It's made by Minitoon, you know, the creator of Piggy, and his girlfriend, Moonfall X. And they just play Piggy challenges and answer questions, and it's a very cute channel. Although I'm not sure how it uploads almost daily. I think that's still kind of insane. Alright, now with all those YouTubers out of the way, let's finally talk about the animators. Let's start off with the more 3D studio animators. There are 4 channels I want to talk about. First 2 I want to talk about are Dexter Plays and Red Ninja. They're actually a pair of brothers who learn how to animate on Roblox together. They have their own separate channels, making their own separate Roblox animations, but you know, eventually, from time to time, they collab and stuff. Their animations were pretty cool, and they even made a lot of animations for other people. Like, for example, Dexter Plays animated that Willow and Tiger fight at the end of chapter 11. And Red Ninja made this one Timid music video. I swear to God, why does it always come back to Tim? But after Piggy ended, they both found their separate niches on Roblox, and they're still going strong to this day. They're pretty simple channels. Just like Creekcraft, they only prioritize on making videos for kids on what's popular. They're low-key a content farm, but I don't know, Kid Me ate this shit up. And it's honestly, as sad as it sounds, one of the best fates that any of these channels could have. Especially for the next 2 Roblox studio animators that I want to talk about. Next we have the Megan Mo Show, which I'm pretty sure was actually run by a father and his daughter. You know, Megan Mo. His main series was the iconic Animating Your Comics, but, well, I'm kind of hesitant on whether Dexter Plays and Red Ninja was actually a content farm. Megan Mo Show was 100% a content farm. They made videos on Poppets when they started blowing up, like Friday Night Funkin', stuff like that.
You can bet your ass that if Piggy came out nowadays, they would 100% make a Labubu episode.
It was brain rot in its purest form, and I don't know how I ate that shit up. They even did the thing where they put all their animations in a compilation to make it seem like there's new content, but there's only like 3 minutes of new content. I have to respect this content though, as in my opinion, some of it still really holds up to this day. Sure, it might be brain rot or YouTube Kids cash grab, but you know what? It's my brain rot YouTube Kids cash grab. Also, some of those skits are actually kind of funny, and they kind of got a laugh out of me, I'm not gonna lie.
I guess I'll do it. I'll make sure I make it quick and painless, okay? She won't feel a thing. Oh, Bob! Well, that's taken care of. Chick-fil-A, anyone? Yeah, okay. Yeah, sounds good. My favorite. Man, I wanted Domino's.
Although the worst case of a studio animator falling off has to be with Dogbon. Dogbon was a really talented and creative creator. He made loads of Piggy animations, and mostly focused on origin stories. So you wouldn't understand the amount of disappointment and absolute disgust I got when I went to revisit his channel, and I saw that all his recent posts are just AI slop. Sure, his animations weren't the best, and he might have tried profiting off of kids, but at the end of the day, it was still genuine art. Seeing him become this AI bro who's lost all his creativity and passion for animating honestly just hurts. Even though a lot of these YouTubers had really bad fates after Piggy ended, Dogbon is the only one who's lost my complete respect. Well, aside from another certain someone, but you know, we'll get there when we get there. On a more uplifting note, I'm going to talk about 2 YouTubers which actually had a massive glow up after Piggy. They were 2D flip-a-clip animators, and they were responsible for some of the most iconic Piggy memes back then. Mainly animation memes, if you know what those are, which you probably do. But I'll make these brief because I don't actually know that much about them. I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. I'm really sorry if I butcher it, but Anud was one of the most iconic Piggy animators back then, responsible for the all-time classic Piggy coffin dance. This was the Piggy's community canon event. If you didn't see this, you weren't a true fan. But unlike almost all the YouTubers on this list, Anud kept pursuing that passion, and they'd eventually start improving a lot. I mean, you can see the footage in the background right now. The animation looks a lot better, and the art is genuinely really good. It's honestly kind of cool and inspiring how far they've come ever since those Piggy days. And it's a very similar case with another Piggy animator, Kitty Channel Afnan, responsible for such classics as the Muffin song, Piggy Edition.
Actually, it's 12:30.
But genuinely, this person's evolution in art needs to be studied. They haven't posted in a while, but the animations they have recently are genuinely so good. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this is the same person. I genuinely hope for the best for these two artists and their amazing work. And maybe we can pick up a thing or two from their improvement story. Every practice and application of a talent, even if we think it's insignificant, or it's cringe, or it doesn't matter, will eventually help us get better. And with enough time and practice, you can eventually become great. You don't always start off with good art, but it's up to you for you to improve that and make it as good as you want. Damn. Anyways, time to talk about this freak nap. Trigger warning for the things on the screen right now. I know these topics can make some people uncomfortable, so if you'd like, you can skip to the next chapter, considering this is the final YouTuber I'll be talking about today. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, miner. I love miners. I love the miners. Please give me miner.
PGHL Films, or Lego's story, starts almost 10 years ago. As a little kid, he used to play a lot with his Legos, hence, Lego. It was mostly his SpongeBob Legos, but it was still very wholesome content. Just the usual little kid messing around on YouTube. It wasn't anything that special. He'd then move on to make a bunch of Roblox and Minecraft Let's Plays though, and he even dabbled a bit in horror games like FNAF. I believe this is what led him down the path to eventually stumble upon Piggy. I know Lego made a bunch of Piggy content, but I only want to talk about one thing, and it's the thing he's actually most known for. His incredible RP films. See, they started off as some joke, like showcasing some models, wasn't anything too special, but then he started writing his own version of Piggy, his own story. Much like, say, Kitty Channel Afnan and Anud, he started growing and improving his craft. His Piggy animations became some of the best of the entire platform. Some of the best 3D animation in general. I mean, look at this. This looks like Spider-Verse. He was basically making his own Piggy movie, and we were all here for it. The script and dialogue was really good. It had funny jokes, original characters, really cool gags.
Because of you. Give that pole to me, Daddy.
Okay, maybe not that one, but it was still very good, high-quality content. And the fact that it was made by a child was even more impressive. Lego was around 16 to 17 at the time, and that was very inspiring for someone young like me. And well, he kept going with the RP films, and they were getting better each installment. He slowly became the GOAT of the Piggy community. Everyone wanted to collaborate with him. Hell, even Minitoon. He animated the animations for Spadella. He was in that Netflix show that Antics made about Piggy. Hell, he even collaborated with Creekcraft.
Do you know PGHL Films? Question mark. All right, he's thinking about it. Give me some questions to ask in the chat, by the way. Okay, he does know PGHL Films.
I think you know where I'm going with this. You had to be there to see the initial shock and disappointment of reading those terrible allegations. This person I've been looking up to for so long turns out to be this absolute weirdo creep. He was allegedly caught sending, well, dead animals to minors, which a lot of people say it's why he was so invested into Piggy in the first place, since it features decaying animals. And then he moved to Sprunky, which isn't better in any way. He allegedly made inappropriate comments to minors, and even said he was gonna send explicit images to one. I know these are all allegations, and he's tried defending it multiple times, but sadly I just can't take his side into any of it. There's too much evidence against him, and his responses aren't really helping. Even prominent community members like Creekcraft have agreed that his responses to everything are absolutely terrible, and his allegations would remain undefended are just weird as hell and unacceptable. It's absolutely crushing when someone who's been your inspiration for a long time and you looked up to a lot turns out to be an absolute degenerate. And hell, I know PGHL Films isn't gonna watch this, nor probably any of the YouTubers I've been talking about, but your content meant so much to me, and I hope you reflect on the actions that you've done, and you own up to all those horrible things that you did. This channel or me does not condone any of these allegations.
My full respect and support goes out to the victims and people who were affected by PGHL Films' behavior. And this will be the first and only time I talk about a creep like this. And I'm strictly talking about them for documentary purposes. And because PGHL Films is a very prominent community member. And his work, despite his actions, still has a legacy that is very well regarded to this day. That's all I'll say about him though. If you want more details, I suggest looking at Parlo's video. It goes pretty in depth. But those are all the notable content creators. They've all left a lasting impact on the community, whether good or bad, and they all developed in one way or another from Piggy. Piggy to them were like training wheels that shaped them into the person they are today. And genuinely, I think that's kind of beautiful. Except for Dogbon, literally get out. Super Mario style! Before I get my closing thoughts, I want to quickly talk about the community. That's alright. Like, low-key, it was one of the chillest communities on Roblox as a whole. They're a very forgiving community. Well, at least most of them. And they can understand when something gets delayed or there's bugs that need to be fixed. You know, they see the people working on Piggy and Piggy-related media as actual people and not machines that need to make everything perfect. Of course, though, they still make sure it gets fixed. But overall, their patience is one of their best virtues. It's also a very grateful community. Like, back then, all it took for them to be satisfied was one chapter, a bit of lore, and a skin. I think because of the type of game that Piggy was, they didn't really expect that much, and hence their standards weren't really that high. But I think that was like low-key a blessing. Because at the end of the day, that just made the fandom happy, and it made them talk a lot and connect. Another cool side of the fandom, or well, kind of funny side of the fandom, were the rumors that were spread. I've already talked about the super potato, but do you remember the maple donut? How did people think this shit was real? I'm people, by the way. If you don't know, one day, randomly, Piggy just updated with a badge that just said, "You found the maple donut hideaway." And the hunt for this badge was so massive, I don't think I've ever seen a Roblox community get together like they did to find this stupid badge. And someone made like a concept, or I don't know if it was a leak, or I don't know what this is, but this makes me laugh. It's kind of funny, I love it. It's literally just a recolor of Giraffe's model. Like, how did we all think this was the maple donut? Eventually, though, that was just the placeholder name for the Ready Player 2 event, so unfortunately, this is not real. And recently, with the release of Pig 64 Part 2, which I will be talking a bit about in the concluding segment, the Piggy community seemed to have just revived out of nowhere. And all those people sharing their old art or their new art inspired by their revival and interest in Piggy was genuinely very inspiring. And honestly, if it wasn't for the Piggy community's revival after Pig 64 Part 2, I don't think I'd even be making this video. One last thing I want to talk about for the Piggy community is just how talented they are. With fan games, models, movies, mini animations, everything. To prove this, I'm going to give a bunch of examples of recent Piggy things that are released that you should probably check out. You won't regret it. It's genuinely amazing. Like, I'd go as far as to say it's some of the best fan-made content for any fandom ever. Both Piggy Mansion films, you should absolutely check these out. These are amazing. Piggy Branch Realities, which has some of the best models I've ever seen for a Roblox game ever. If I told you this was Piggy, the same game I talked about a couple hours ago, would you believe me? Piggy Rush, which is basically just Pillar Chase 2, but with Piggy entities and survivors. It's really good and really fun. You should check it out 100%. Piggy The Result of Isolation. This fan game is pretty neat. I like it. I understand it's not every person's cup of tea, but I think it's pretty neat. Pig 64. It's an officially licensed Piggy game, which has a really large spanning ARG connected to it. It's a really massive game and really well made. I could literally make an entire video just breaking down this game. The villain Nor is really cool, the graphics are really charming, and the movement is also really smooth. Absolute peak platforming. It even had collabs with games like Flee the Facility and Tower Heroes. It's really great, you should check it out. Accurate Piggy Roleplay. This was actually made by Tenuous Flea, who made a couple Piggy skins, most notably Billy and Craxicord. It's your run-of-the-mill roleplay game, but it can still be fun, especially with friends. And it also has its own custom chapters, so if you want more Piggy content, you can check those out. Piggy the Lost Book, which is basically just Piggy Book 3, and it has a lot of really cool extras. Piggy Hallucinations, which is literally Five Nights at Freddy's, but Piggy on Roblox. It's amazing. Piggy the Robotic Apocalypse, which is Piggy, but Five Nights at Freddy's. But instead of having Five Nights at Freddy's gameplay with Piggy Elements, it's Piggy Elements with Five Nights at Freddy. You get it. And finally,
Piggy Unstable Reality.
Wait, what does that say? What the hell is that? Are we dead ass?
This is some of the community's best work, and honestly, I'd say it's either on par or even better than Piggy. If any of it interests you, please check it out.
Well, it's been quite the journey, hasn't it? But I think it's finally time to answer the question. Is Piggy really as phenomenal as it seems? And honestly, I'd say the answer is no. The modeling is subpar. It's not scary in the slightest. The lore is full of plot holes and has completely lost the plot. And at the end of the day, it's just Roblox horror front slop, mainly targeted for little kids and nothing more. But that's not really the truth, is it? As I've shown throughout this video, even though Piggy itself may not be the best product ever, what came from it was a very special and devoted fanbase. Piggy was something to get invested over. Sure, it wasn't the best, but it was good. It was what we had. It bonded us together as a community. It helped us develop, not only as people, but as artists and creators. It gave people names. It gave people identities. And I find that so beautiful. Piggy is phenomenal, not because of the game itself. Phenomenal for what it's managed to do, for the people it's reached out to and helped out, for Minitoon himself. Don't think he ever expected his little joke game to become something so special. World now. It's got characters, it's got fan games, multiple universes. We're completely far gone from Peppa Pig, and now we just have this own separate, special, amazing thing. I believe Piggy has taught us something very valuable. Dear viewer, never be afraid of creating, no matter what it is. Even if it's a joke, even if you think it's bad, who knows? You might just pick up some keys along the way and build your way to the escape. And even if it seems like if it's impossible, even if it seems out of reach, who knows? Maybe you'll find your own true ending along the way.